जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
Hari Bol. Thank you, Deepa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I am in the temple premises. There may be here and there little sound. Please bear with me.
Okay, sure, Prabhu. Sure.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
You have to share the screen because I don't have laptop.
Yeah, I will share the screen, Prabhu. Prabhu, your camera is not on.
I will do that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshudamnitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Sapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Dapatakamanam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagadhyatam Sagadhanagadanatamitam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Radha Krishna Padam Sadhana Gita Shri Vishapanikam Shri. Mataji, we have to start from which shloka?
Prabhu, from
10,
shloka
Prabhu.
number 10.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Prabhu, I've shared the screen.
Yeah, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Yeah.
We have to start from 3 to 10, correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
So my memory is okay, somewhat. Kasturitilakam lalatapatale vakshastale kaustubam nasagre varamautikam kartale vonukare kanganam sarvangi harichandanam sulalitam kante cha muktavali gopastri pariveshtito vijayate gopala chudamani. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Devasya Mayaya Sprishta Yechanyat Asat Ashritaha Brahma Brahmyate Dhirna Tadvakyai Atman Yuptatmano Haro. You can read that shloka once.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Devasya mayaya sprishta echanyad asadashritaha brahmyate dirna tadvakyai atmani upatatmano haro. Hare Krishna.
Okay. You can read the word by word quickly, synonyms.
Yes, Prabhu. Synonyms: Devasya, of the personality of Godhead; Mayaya, by the influence of external energy; Sprishta, infected; A, all; those; Cha, and; Anyat, others; Asat, illusory; Ashrita, being taken to; Brahmyate, bewilder; Dehi, intelligence; Na, not; Tad, of them; Vakyaihi, by those words; Atmani, in the Supreme Self; Uptatma, Mana, surrendered souls; Harau, unto the Lord. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Under no circumstances can the words of persons bewildered by the illusionary energy of the Lord deviate the intelligence of those who are completely surrendered souls.
Hare Krishna. Purport by given this, Srila Prabhupada. Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the all evidences of the Vedas. He is accepted by all the acharyas, including the Sripada Shankaracharya. But when he was present in the world, different classes of men accepted him differently, and therefore their calculations of the Lord were also different. Generally, person who had faith in the revealed scriptures accepted the Lord as he is, and all of them emerged into the great bereavement when the Lord disappeared from the world. In the first canto, we have already discussed the lamentation of Arjuna and Yudhishthira, to whom the disappearance of Lord Krishna was almost intolerable up to the end of their lives. The Yadavas were only partially cognizant of the Lord, but they are also glorious because they had the opportunity to associate with the Lord, who acted as the head of their family, and they also rendered the Lord intimate service. Others and other devotees of the Lord are different from those who wrongly calculated him to be an ordinary human personality. Such persons are certainly bewildered by the illusory energy. They are hellish and are envious of the Supreme Lord. The illusory energy acts very powerfully on them because, in spite of their elevated mundane education, and such persons are faithless and are infected by the mentality of atheism. They are always very eager. They are also very eager to establish that Lord Krishna was an ordinary man who was killed by a hunter due to his many impious acts in plotting to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and Jarasandha, the demonic kings of the earth. Such persons have no faith in the statement of Bhagavad Gita that the Lord is is unaffected by the reactions of karma, nachamam karmani lippanti. According to the atheistic point of view, Lord Krishna family, the dynasty were vanquished due to being cursed by the Brahmanas for the sins committed by Krishna in killing sons of Dhritarashtra, etc. All these blasphemies do not touch the heart of the devotees of the Lord, because they know perfectly well what is what. Their intelligence, according to the Lord, is never disturbed. But those who are disturbed by the statements of the Asuras are also condemned. That is what Uddhava meant in these words. So very simple. See, a person who is fully equipped with the knowledge of the Supreme and who is thoroughly aware Krishna is the Supreme Lord, automatically for such persons, there is no issues at all. Especially as it is explained in the purport, I have seen certain things. Because when the Lord entered into the wrestling arena, each and every people was thinking of the Lord in a different way. Here, Prabhupada categorizes three categories. One, who have understood the Lord directly and they had served the Lord. That is Pandava families. Then Prabhupada brings out another set of devotees who are all born in the same Vishnu dynasty, but they were not able to have that much what the Pandavas had, association and the closeness of the Lord. So this second category. There is a third category. They could not understand the Lord at all. They thought he's like a normal human being. This is also another big problem. So here the condemnation of the third category is too much, because they are trying to pollute things and they do not know the real value of it. Unfortunately, they try to talk whatever they have. They try to speculate things. If you look at it, Prabhupada explained so wonderfully, all the acharyas have accepted, according to the scriptures, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, including Sripad Sankaracharya also. though he was initially propagating a different philosophy, but later on he understood the supremacy of Lord Krishna. So like this here, this particular verse insists, especially people who are devoid of the knowledge of the Lord, they try to propagate and they try to speculate things. And here Prabhupada is giving two wonderful situations and they try to manipulate it. Because one is Krishna was like a normal man and he was also killed by a hunter because of his deed, because he killed the sons of Dhritarashtra and they did so many, and he did so many things in the Kurukshetra war, and he also killed Jarasandha in a different style. So such a wrong propagation is always a very infectious one. But for a devotee of the Lord, such a wrong propagation will not affect them. This is what in this shloka here Uddhava is explaining to whom? Vidura. So we can understand how Uddhava has served Krishna throughout, because though he is slightly younger, but he was with the Lord together from the babyhood time. So that means he understood Krishna thoroughly. And that's why he is trying to establish the devotees of the Lord will not be affected by the wrong propagation of persons who are talking about Krishna. So that means here we have to understand one basic point here. Those who are in Krishna consciousness, they must be thorough with the philosophy. Prabhupada always especially mentions too much on this, because when we are getting into the Krishna consciousness, we must have a strong foundation. What is the strong foundation? We have to have thorough knowledge of scriptures, and we must be able to establish when challenges are coming, we should not fall down. This is what here explained. So here Uddhava is also telling the same thing. A devotee of the Lord cannot be disturbed or cannot be challenged. He can defeat all sorts of arguments and he can establish Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So this way, this verse is so wonderful. And especially there is one more important aspect here mentioned here is, so finally, when the non-devotees who are talking according to their whims and fancies, when they talk about Krishna in a different style, here it is Prabhupada explaining it. When the own kinsmen, the entire Yadu dynasty was destroyed, people are telling, so the Brahmanas cursed Krishna because of his various activities. He killed so many Dhritarashtrans, this and that. And one thing you should never forget here is that there are people who talks the other way also. What is that? They talk just because Gandhari cursed Krishna, and what does she say? You have killed all my 100 sons. And she curses, the entire clan of Yadu will be finished or vanished. This is what she cursed. And people take it. Those people, those who are averse to Krishna, those who are completely atheists, they take up this point and they go on propagating wrongly, and they say, oh, it is Gandhari's curse, which is very powerful. She is a chaste woman. So her curse only killed all of them. And that only killed Krishna also. Like that, they wrongly propagate. So this is what we have to understand here. Such a wrong propagations should not affect us. Because why? Because if we are thorough with the spiritual knowledge, and if you are thorough with the philosophy, and nobody can shake us. So that's why those people are not very strong in philosophy, those who are not very strong in scriptures, naturally, when they get into Krishna consciousness, they are over enthusiastic, they are trying to do so many things. But when it comes to such a statement and such an argument and such a situation, they are not able to face them. And they immediately fall down from Krishna consciousness, they jump into something else, and they are not able to get their real benefit of Krishna consciousness. So here Uddhava says very clearly, so it cannot be disturbed. That's why if you look at the translation, it is very clear. Under no circumstance, this is what very important. So you may face so many difficulties in your life because of our karma. And you may face so many tough situations with so many atheists, so many non-believers. And all the situations, we will not be bewildered. This is very important. So how is it possible? have a bhakti, and we have a faith in Krishna consciousness, and we have knowledge of scriptures and a very strong philosophical points, then automatically you can win over the people. Okay, so let's move on to the shloka number 11. Correct, Mataji, please correct me if I am going wrong somewhere.
Yeah, Prabhu, 11 only. Yeah.
Okay. Pradarshya tapta tapasam avitrupta drisham nurnam adhayantar adhatyastu swabhimbham loka lochanam. One of you can read this shloka and read the synonyms.
May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Dandavat pranams, Prabhuji. Pradarshya tapta tapasam avitripta drisham nrinam adhayantar adhadyastu swabhimbham lokalochanam. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams.
Word by word.
Shall some other devotee take it up, Prabhuji?
Yeah, give it.
Yeah. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Synonyms. Pradarshya, by exhibiting, atapa, without undergoing, tapasam, penances, avitripta drisham, without fulfillment of vision, nrunam, of persons, adaya, taking, antaha, disappearance, adhat, perform, yaha, he who, too, but, swabhimbham, his own form, lokalochanam, public vision. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Sri Krishna, who manifested his eternal form before the vision of all on the earth, performed his disappearance by removing his form from the sight of those who were unable to see him as he is, due to not executing required penance. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Namaskar.
Purport by His and Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this verse, the word Abhitripta. What is the word? Abhitripta drisham is the most significant, because the conditioned soul in the material world are all trying to satisfy their senses in various ways, but they have failed to do so because it is impossible to be satisfied by such effort. The example of the fish on the land is very appropriate. If one takes a fish from the water and puts it on the land, it cannot be made happy by any amount of offered pleasure. The spirit soul can be happy only in the association of Supreme Living Being, the personality of Godhead, and nowhere else. The Lord, by His unlimited costless mercy, has innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the Brahma Jyoti sphere of the spiritual world, and in the transcendental world, there is an unlimited arrangements for the unlimited pleasure of the living entities. The Lord Himself comes to display His transcendental pastimes, typically represented at Vrindavana, Mathura, and Dwaraka. He appears just to attract the conditioned souls back to Godhead, back home to the internal world. But for want of sufficient piety, the onlookers are not attracted by such pastimes of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that only those who have completely surpassed the way of sinful reaction can engage themselves in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The entire Vedic way of ritualistic performances is to put very conditioned soul on the path of piety. By strict adherence to the prescribed principles of all orders of social life, one can attain the qualities of truthfulness, control of mind, control of senses, forbearance, etc., and can be elevated to the plane of rendering pure devotional service to the Lord. Only such transcendental vision are one's material hankerings fully satisfied. When the Lord was present, persons who were able to satisfy the material hankering by seeing him in true perspective, were thus able to go back with him to his kingdom. But those persons who were unable to see the Lord as he is remained attached to the material hankerings and were not able to go back to Godhead. Not to go back to Godhead. When the Lord passed beyond the vision of all, he did so his original eternal form as stated in the verse. The Lord left in his own body. He did not leave his body as is generally misunderstood by the conditioned soul. This statement details the false propaganda of the faithless non-devotees that the Lord passed away like an ordinary conditioned soul. The Lord appeared in order to release the world from the undue burden of the non-believing asuras, and after doing this, he disappeared from the world's eye. So, in this verse, it's very interesting. What is the primary thing here Prabhupada talks about? It is avitripta drisham. That means people are not satisfied. Because when somebody is getting into this, they will not be able to satisfy themselves in these things. Even all their efforts will be definitely futile. So, for instance, here Prabhupada is giving a fish which is always in the water. And somebody else wants to keep the fish in a different atmosphere with a golden cup, this and that. It is not going to benefit. Why? Because it has got its own nature and it has to remain that. For instance, we can give another example also. We used to say that now. See, a bird, right? When it's kept in a cage, is it suitable for it? No, it is not happy. And Prabhupada gives an example. Person brought a wonderful golden cage and every day he's polishing it and keeping it so nice. And he thinks the bird is satisfied. Unfortunately, he is ignorant because only when the bird is let out, that is happy, that is satisfied. Similarly, here what we have to understand is, in this material world, there is no such material satisfaction. So one should understand when the Lord appeared also, it is very clearly mentioned, those who are fully kept away from this material hankerings, they were able to take up Krishna consciousness, they were able to understand Krishna, and they were able to go back to Godhead. Those who are so attached to their material hankerings, they were not able to because they could not see Lord as he is. That is a basic problem. So here, if you look at it, there are so many occasions you can see that when the Lord appeared, many were extremely able to respect Krishna, and they were able to worship Krishna, his Supreme Lord. So naturally, all their material hankerings were completely knocked off. All powerful, we have seen it, and the Lord can take any number of forms, unlimited forms. When we get into the Muchikunda Charitra, the 10th canto, 51st chapter, wherein it is explained, Krishna himself says, a person will be able to count the particles of sand on the earth after taking many thousands of lifetime. But one cannot count the transcendental quality and the transcendental appearance and the transcendental form which I have taken. And further, he says in the next shloka immediately, in the 51st chapter, he says, I myself do not know how many names I have taken, how many forms I have taken. So here, this is what explained here. So in the purport, it is very clearly mentioned, those who are not able to see the Lord as he is. How is it possible? As he is, one can see how, because one who takes the shelter of a guru, the pure devotee of the Lord, then only he will be able to understand the Lord also. So like this here, Prabhupada is explaining the Lord displayed all the leelas as he did it in his transcendental abode, same way he did the transcendental pastimes in Vrindavana, Mathura, because those who have got sufficient piety only, they will be able to understand Krishna. Again, here it is also explained, those who have no control on their senses, they cannot do it. And those who have understood the Lord as He is, they develop the qualities. Because first of all their material hankerings will be knocked off because they have understood Krishna and they don't have any attachment for the material hankering. And slowly, they develop very great qualities, which is mentioned here is, what are they? Truthfulness, control of mind, control of senses, forbearance. So the gunas, what is this called? These gunas are called transcendental qualities, because the Lord is full of virtue, and those who worship the Lord automatically imbibe these virtuous qualities. So this is what we have understood in this. And further in the next paragraph, many people were taking Krishna very lightly. He died like a common man, like a conditioned soul. This is verily condemned. Prabhupada verily condemning it, because this is the ignorant people who talk about it. See, if you look at it, there are so many instances in the scriptures, it's very well mentioned, especially when the Lord appeared in the prison. The Lord first came with four-armed form of Vishnu in front of Devaki and Vasudeva. But on the request of Mother Devaki, she was telling, my dear son, if you appear like, because she addresses son as well as the Lord. She understood the Lord. So she says, my dear Lord, if you appear like this, my brother Kansa will come to know. So I don't want to have that confrontation. So please, you come like your original form and normal human form. Immediately, when the Lord transformed from four-armed of snow, putting of curtain, and the scene changes like the drama. Here, the Lord instantly, from four-armed form to two-armed form, he moved immediately. So this is one evidence wherein the Lord can get into any number of forms as he wishes. Similarly, there is one more verse in the Shrimad Bhagavatam again, when the Lord left for his abode from the Prabhasa Kshetra. So this Prabhasa Kshetra is where it is in Gujarat, and it is called as Somnath. So when the Lord was leaving the material world, the hunter, and his name is, what is his name? Wait. What is his name? I am forgetting suddenly. Okay. So I'm not able to get the hunter's name. So
Jara.
The hunter, Jara. Thank you for reminding me. So the hunter Jara could see the Lord with his own transcendental form, what he was here, with the same form, he was going back to Goloka. So he did not change his form, and there was no such thing like what the non-believers talk. This is not there. So Bhagavatam there also emphasizes the Lord moved with his transcendental body. So these are the evidences which in, and certain people are falling a prey into this false propaganda, and they are not able to be a real servant of the Lord. They fall down because of the wrong association. But it is very clear the Lord came down for a specific purpose, because with the Bhumi Devi and Brahma, they all requested the burden of the earth is too much, so it has to be reduced. So they went and requested, the Lord came for that rescue or support or for saving them. He came down, he reduced the burden of the earth, and once that is done, he went back to his abode. So this is a very clear evidence, and we can understand from the translation also. Here Uddhava speaks like this: Lord Sri Krishna manifests eternal form before the vision of all. Right? Then what does he say? Those who were unable to see him, right? due to that non-executing required penance. So that means, what is more important? One has to do devotion service, without which one cannot see the Lord. Clear? So let's move on to the shloka. Next shloka. Shloka number 12. Yad matya tilopaikam Swayoga Maya Balam Darshayat Swasya Cha Sobha Kardehe Parampadam Bhushana Bhushanangam. So shloka number 12. Somebody can read the synonym directly.
Can I read the shloka, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, no, shloka is not required because it's a long shloka. You can go to the synonyms.
Suma Mataji, you can read. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Dandat Pranams,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Word-to-word translation. Yet his eternal form which, Martya, mortal world, Leela, Upayikam, just suitable for the pastimes, Swayoga, Maya, Balam, potency of the internal energy, Darshayata, for manifestation, Grihitam, discovered, Vishmapanam, wonderful, Swasya, of his own, Cha, and Saubhagya Riddhe, of the opulent, Param, supreme, Padam, ultimate stand, Bhushana, ornament, Bhushanangam, of the ornaments. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency, Yoga Maya. He came in his eternal form, which is just suitable for his pastimes. These pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including the Lord himself in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus, his Sri Krishna's transcendental body is the ornament of all ornaments. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let us go to the purport. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In conformity with the Vedic hymns, Nityo Nityanam Chetana Chetananam, the personality of Godhead is more excellent than all other living beings within the all universe in the material world. He is the chief of all living entities. No one can surpass him, or no one is equal to him. That means, what is the Sanskrit word? Asamurdva. What is the meaning? Asamurdva.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Voice is breaking, Prabhu. Not audible. Prabhu, you can switch off your camera if you want.
Prabhuji, you're not audible.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
To him in any respect, in any of these 6 different opulence. Here we can understand one point. All 6 opulences in full. So that's why no one is equal or no one is above. Similarly, the Lord appeared in different forms, right? When it comes to the Martya Loka means what? The world where Murti is definite. Human form is required when he comes to the Bhuloka. So he took the form of a human form, but his original form is 2-armed Krishna Shyamasundara with 3 bends. So again, the same Lord appeared in another form, like a boar, like a lion, offline of human. So when he takes all those forms, that means the Lord is like that. So, but here the foolish people, they derive in the Bhagavad Gita. What does it say? Krishna says, Moodas cannot understand. They think I am a normal human being like them. So this is a problem for them. So, and what do? They try to talk is a human form. So this they are not able to understand very clearly. So automatically we can make them understand very clearly. When the Lord appeared in the boar form, that means the Lord is a boar? No. When he appeared as offline, half human. So this is what the Lord can get into any type of form. At all times, he is always the supreme. So when he go to Vaikuntha planet, he will take four-armed form because he has to have so many wonderful pastimes according to the Vaikuntha situation. So like this, the Lord is capable of getting into different forms for the satisfaction of the devotees and for his own satisfaction too. So here we can understand how important it is. So then, if you look at that next one, somebody can read it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Sindhu Mataji, will you read?
Yeah, Mataji. You can read from which paragraph?
No, I stopped in between.
In between.
Nobody followed. Okay, no problem. I will start.
That's okay.
He appeared in a manner just suitable for his pastimes in the material world. He did not appear in human society in the Vaikuntha planet with four-armed forms because that would not have been suitable for his pastime. So it depends upon the situation. But in spite of his appearing as a human being, no one was equal to him, no one was above to him in any of the six opulence. Everyone is more or less proud of his opulence in this material world. But when Krishna in human society, he is excelled all this contemporaries within the universe. That means there is no one equal to him. He is the top universe. So this is what we have to understand. So the Lord is always excelling in all respects. So one must be able to understand this. So here we can understand the Lord is above all these things and he excels everywhere. Okay. So next paragraph, somebody can read it with the Lord.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji, you can read.
Yeah.
Anyone reading? Yeah, you read, Mataji. Next I will read. Hare Krishna. Okay. Hari Bol Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the Lord's pastimes are visible to the human eye, they are called prakata. And when they are not visible, they are called aprakata. In fact, the Lord's pastimes never stop, just as the sun never leaves the sky. The sun is always in its right orbit in the sky, but it's sometimes visible and sometimes invisible to our limited vision. Similarly, the pastimes of the Lord are always current in one universe or another, and when Lord Krishna disappeared from the transcendental abode of Dwarka, it was simply a disappearance from the eyes of the people there. It should not be misunderstood that this transcendental body, which is just suitable for the pastimes in the mortal world, is in any way inferior to his different expansions in the Vaikuntha Lokas. His body manifested in the material world is transcendental par excellence in the sense that his pastimes in the mortal world excel his mercy displayed in the Vaikuntha Lokas. The Vaikuntha Lokas, the Lord is merciful towards the liberated or Nityamukta living entities, when in his pastimes in the mortal world, he is merciful even to the fallen souls who are Nityabadha or conditioned forever. The six excellent opulences which he displayed in the mortal world by the agency of his internal potency Yogamaya are rare even in the Vaikuntha Lokas. All his pastimes were manifested not by the material energy but by spiritual energy. The excellence of his Rasalila at Vrindavan and his householder life with 16,000 wives is wonderful even for the Narayana and Vaikuntha, and is certainly so for other living entities within this mortal world. His pastimes are wonderful even for other incarnations of the Lord, such as Sri Rama, Narsimha, and Varaha. His opulence was so super excellent that his pastimes were adored even by the Lord of Vaikuntha, who is not different from Lord Krishna himself. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So in this paragraph, we can understand one important aspect of it. When the Lord comes to perform pastimes, it is visible to human beings, but again, it's called as prakata. The same thing when it is not visible, it's called aprakata. So, if it is not visible, one cannot say, oh, there is no Lord. He is not Supreme Lord, like that. So, when the Lord came down, he comes with all his opulence because he is possessing all these opulences. In the previous paragraph also we are seeing it. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahun. So that means he is always above all these things. And there is no one equal to him, no one above him. So when the Lord comes, he does all these pastimes again for the pleasure of the devotees, and they are able to see that. That's called prakata. And there are non-believers who cannot see it. They are calling it as aprakata. But similarly, pastimes are always current in one universe and another. And when the Lord disappeared from transcendental abode, Dwaraka, it was simply a disappearance from the eyes of people. This is what we have to understand. See, people are not able to believe when they are able to see it also. And for such people, when they are not able to see, and how they will believe it, right? See, when they are able to see, they are not believing. And when they are not able to see, definitely they will not believe. That's what we have to understand. The Lord is above all these things because his body is transcendental and just suitable for any pastime and any corner of the universe. So one should understand, especially he showers mercy for liberated soul. What is that? That is Nitya Mukta, those who are in the Vaikuntha planet. For them, he gives them all satisfaction there. Similarly, for the Nitya Baddhas also, the Lord was merciful. How come? Because when he appeared on the earth planet, there were so many conditioned souls and all were liberated. All got his mercy. How? Because the Lord is always equal. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, what is it? In the 6th chapter. Huh?
I'm not partial to anyone.
No, yeah, that's what. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyossi na priyaha. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. So in this verse, samoham sarva bhuteshu, that means all are equal to me. There is no partiality. So the Lord showers mercy in Vaikuntha for Nitya Muktas. And the same Lord, when he comes to the material world, he is showering mercy to all the Nitya Baddhas also. But how to get his mercy? All that is, one should understand the Lord as the Supreme through the disciplic section of a proper Guru, and they will be able to get the mercy of the Lord suitably. But people who are not having that, they will not be able to understand the Lord, and they will not be able to be a part of the mercy of the Lord. So here, it is very well mentioned, the Lord is different from different situations for the different pastime. So, but one should not understand the Lord is partial. He's always impartial. That we have seen it even in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He delivered so many who were dying in front of his eyes. So that means he has got no partiality. So this is very important. Another aspect is his body is transcendental. This one should understand it. Because when the ornaments are adorned on the Lord's neck, it's very beautiful. Because the Lord is transcendental, and whatever is attached to the transcendental, that also becomes transcendental. Similarly, a garland in the shop may not be beautiful, and when it is worn by Lord Balaji, so beautiful. There is a disconnected. Similarly, the devotee cannot shine, and if he is connected to Krishna through the parampara system, automatically all the great talents of the devotee comes out. That's why when somebody says your lecture is wise, wonderful, immediately what does he say? All good, Srila Prabhupada, because the connection is there. So like this, there are so many wonderful things in this. So let us move on to the next shloka. Okay, shloka number 13. Yad dharma shunor pata rajasuye nirikshadrik swasthayanam trilokaha karsrisniyana chadhyeha gatam vidatur arvak shratau kaushalam iti amanyata. This shloka, this one particular word, you have to be very careful now. Kartisniyena. This is a very rare pronunciation, very difficult also. It is Kartisniyena. It's a very wonderful shloka. Okay. So somebody can ask, you should do it.
Sure, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yadharma shunor bata rajasuya nirikshya drik swash tyayanam trilokaha katsnyena chadyena gatam vidhatur Arvakshruto Kaushalamiti Amanyata. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Synonyms.
Shobha
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Synonyms. Yat, the form which. Dharma Suno, of Maharaja Yudhishthira. Bhatha, certainly. Rajasuya, in the arena of Rajasuya sacrifice. Nirikshaya, by observing. Drik, sight. Svatsaya Yanam, Loka, the three worlds. Katsreyana, in some total. Cha, thus, Atya, today. Iha, within the universe. Gatam, surpassed. Vidhatu, of the creators. Brahma. Arvak, recent mankind. Shruthau, in the material world. Kaushalam, dexterity. Iti, thus. Amantyata, contemplated. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Prabhuji, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Nandini Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All the demigods from the upper, lower and middle universal planetary systems assembled at the altar of Rajasuya sacrifice performed by Maharaja Yudhishthira. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate dexterous and creation of Brahma. I couldn't view the Hare Krishna.
Creation of Brahma, the creator of human beings. Okay. Hare Krishna. Another devotee can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Can I read?
Prabhuji?
Can I read?
No, Mataji will decide. Narayani Mataji.
Prabhu, I think Radhakrishnan Prabhu, he wants to read.
Okay. Because I am not
Prabhu,
able
you
to see
want
the
to read?
names.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I read?
Yeah, Prabhu, yeah. Go ahead.
Purport. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. There was nothing comparable to the bodily features of Lord Krishna when he was present in this world. The most beautiful object in the material world may be compared to the blue lotus flower or the full moon in the sky. But even the lotus flower and the moon were defeated by the beauty of the bodily features of Lord Krishna. And this was certified by the demigods, the most beautiful living creatures in the universe. The demigods thought that Lord Krishna, like themselves, was also created by Lord Brahma. But in fact, Brahma was created by Lord Krishna. It was not within the power of Brahma to create the transcendental beauty of the Supreme Lord. No one is the creator of Krishna. Rather, he is the creator of everyone. As he says in Bhagavad Gita 10:8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate.
Thank you.
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji.
Thank you. So, in this verse, it is very clear. What is that? All the devatas in the upper planet systems and those who are in different lower and middle universes, they were assembled at many places, not only in Rajasuya, also in other places also, they were completely waiting to see the Lord. But here it talks about the Rajasuya Yajna. So when the Rajasuya Yajna was performed, all the three planetary systems, all the devatas came down when Maharaja Yudhishthira was performing it. At that time, the Lord's beauty was completely blinding the entire stage, because the Lord's bodily features were completely defeating all the beauties which is available in the material world. So that's why it is written here, the Lord is the ultimate dexterous creation. Right? Because Brahma himself is created by the Supreme Lord. And one should understand here, whatever we think in this material world is so beautiful, it is nothing before the beauty of the Supreme Lord. In many places, the purport also, Prabhupada writes here in this purport, even the wonderful lotus is also shameful. And similarly, the blue sky also became shameful, because the Lord is all beautiful. That's why we say Bhagavan when we say that he possesses all the 6 opulences in full. So the bodily feature of the Lord is something very, very unique. And they were not able to contemplate properly. So this is the way it is explained. So finally, when we look at that, the Lord completely mesmerized, you can say that, by his beauty. And those who were able to understand the Supreme Lord, they were able to glorify the Lord. So this way, we can understand how the Lord's beauty is so glorious and how all those devotees were able to drink the nectarian form of the Lord through their eyes, right? Nectar you have to eat with only your mouth, right? But the beauty of the Lord is so nectarian, they're able to drink that nectar through their eyes by repeatedly seeing. Who is telling like that? Again, Rukmani Devi is talking the same thing, right? What does he say? Shrutva gunanu bhuvana sundara. And she says, there is nothing else to be seen in this material world after listening to your beauty. Imagine that by listening his beauty, she says there is nothing else. So all that was required was very well done by the beauty of the Lord. So Rukmani Devi was able to see that so beautifully. Hare Krishna. Are you able to hear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So we are left out with sloka number 14, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. 1 minute. I'm getting in another call. I don't want to pick it up because if I pick the call, then the class will be disturbed. I'm just waiting to get the call over. Please wait.
Yeah, okay, Prabhu.
Because I cannot disconnect it. I don't know how to disconnect it. That's the problem. Sorry, this time I am not able to give my full because the situation around. I am still in the temple only. Hare Krishna. So moving on to the last verse, let us go to that. 14. Yasya nurag pluta hasa rasa tilava lokha pratilabdha manaha vraja striyo dagbhir anupravritta diyo avastastu akila kirtya seshaha. Can read the synonyms.
Shanti Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Shanti.
Yeah. Yasya, whose, anuraga, attachment, plutha, enhanced by, hasa, laughter, rasa, humors, lila, pastimes, avaloka, glancing, pratilabdha, obtained thereof, mana, anguished, vrajastriya, damsels of vrajas, and drigbhya, with the
Drigbhihi.
With the following, sorry, Prabhu, with the following eyes, anupravarta, following, dhya, by intelligence, avatastu, sat silently, kala, indeed, kriya sesha, without finishing household duties.
Hare Krishna. Somebody
Translation
else
also,
can do it.
Prabhu? Yeah.
Somebody else can do it.
Yeah, Shanti
Thank
Mataji.
you, Prabhu. Hare
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah.
Translation by Prabhupada Ki Jai. The damsels of Praja, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchanges of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. So here is an example, the beauty of the Lord. So when we look at it, it's something very rare. How? Because after seeing the Lord, I told you, Rukmani Devi was completely absorbed in the Lord's thought. By listening only, she has not seen the Lord. So immediately, one should understand how beautiful the Lord is. Here also it is explained, on seeing the beauty of the Lord, half of the gopis or half the Brajavasis, they could not complete their household work. They left everything as it is and they came to the Lord. Why? Because it's very simple. They were captured or captivated by the beauty of the Lord. So this way we can understand the Lord's beauty is unparalleled. So we should understand how important it is. Mataji, somebody can read that purport? Hare Krishna.
Ram Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I can read. Yeah. In his purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In his boyhood at Vrindavan, Lord Krishna was notorious as a teasing friend in transcendental love to all the girls his age. His love for them was so intense that there is no comparison to the ecstasy, and the damsels of Raja were so much attached to him that their affection excelled that of the great demigods like Brahma and Shiva. Lord Krishna finally admitted his defeat before the transcendental affection of the gopis and declared that he was unable to repay them for their unalloyed affection. Although the gopis were seemingly anguished by the Lord's teasing behavior, when Krishna would leave them, they could not tolerate the separation and used to follow him with their eyes and minds. They were so stunned by the situation that they could not finish their household duties. No one could excel him even in the dealing of love exchanged between boys and girls. It is said in the revealed scriptures that Lord Krishna personally never goes beyond the boundary of Vrindavana. He remains there eternally because of the transcendental love of the inhabitants. Thus, even though he is not visible at present, he is not away from Vrindavana for a moment. Hare Krishna.
So here we can understand he excels in everything when it comes to love for gopis also. Because when they were so much attached to Krishna, the Lord was equally able to satisfy them. And similarly, in the verse it is explained, the Lord's beauty made them to leave everything as it is. They didn't want to do. Because especially when we look at the Rasa dance also, when the Lord was playing on his wonderful transcendental flute, what happened? Everybody was stunned, or everybody was so attracted, captivated. Instantly, they were all coming towards the Lord. And they could not take their eyes off because of the beauty of the Lord. So this is what it is very well explained here. And one should understand the Lord is always beyond compare. That's why we say Asam Murtva, right? So even while the Lord was leaving Vrindavana, but the gopis were able to remember, and the Lord was present in their hearts all the time. So the Lord does not want to any time separate from himself from the Vrajabhumi, right? Hare Krishna. With this, I tried to complete it. I am really sorry today. I had one Bhagvatam class in the ISKCON Chennai that was between 8 to 9. There was some question, I got delayed. Then I had some quick little prasadam and came to this class. I am really happy to have your associations. Only thing I wanted to give more, but due to the situation here, noise and other things, I could not really do best possible things. So please forgive me if anything is wrong. Thank
Prabhu,
you, Nara.
Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhu. You were in temple, you are driving, and still the class was going on and it was flawless. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for your association. We are really blessed to hear from you.
Yeah, Mataji, I have got another class also. Now I am going to one more old age home where we have the Bhagavad Gita class.
Hari Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Prabhu.
So
Hare
all we request is, myself, Geeta, and my son request is, please always pray for us so that we keep serving the devotees all the time, always in the association of devotees.
Hari Bol. We also need your prayers, Prabhu, because I've seen you from so long. You are only giving and the discourses on Bhagvatam, and that's how I've seen you since Dubai till here in India. So I'm really blissful, and we all are blissful, actually, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
For anything wrong or anything mistake, please forgive us.
Hari Hari Bol. No mistakes, Prabhu. Prabhu, will you able to take the question answer? Means questions.
Yeah. We can have one or two questions. No?
Okay. Any questions, devotees?
Now I am driving.
Yeah, I can see that, Prabhu. We can see that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So no questions, Prabhu. We can end the class here.
If at all any question is there, please make a note. Definitely you can come on WhatsApp. We'll be able to clarify matters.
Yeah,
we'll be very happy to clarify. That's what I would say. That.
Sure, Prabhu. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees, so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank
you, Prabhuji. Dandat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Dandat pranam.
Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandat pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, Prabhu, I'll end the session.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.